Today is Thursday, September the 26th, and let's just take a look. Decliners led advancers by about 2 to 1, roughly 1.8 to 1. But the Dow was choppy, volume normal. NASDAQ pretty much down kind of day. S&P 500 came up to yesterday's level, this red line here, touched it and dropped back. Sort of a nothing day. The news was dominated, of course, by the impeachment hearings and now concern that there might not be a deal to be had with China. Come on, why would China want to do a deal with Trump? Well, I think I said this yesterday. You know my feelings on it. There'll be no China deal unless it's one that favors China. And somehow if Trump and Kudlow and Wilbur Ross can spin it that it's good for America, if capitulation is good for America, then that's the kind of deal we'll have. So the market oscillator came back to zero yesterday. It will return probably back to where it was the day before yesterday. And it's still, in my opinion, heading down to oversold before it's going to come back. So let's just take a look at the S&P. Not much happening here. It's still within this channel, which some might call a bull flag, but I think it's going to fail, and I think the gap is going to be tested again, and that could happen tomorrow. Caterpillar, still in this downward pennant kind of trend, but still holding the 50 EMA after getting solid support on the 50 SMA. Here, the flat cloud could attract upwards. There's really got to be some good news that's going to drive Caterpillar, because it's not going to happen by itself. But if you look at where the top of the candle was today, I'm going to put my line right there and come back to the Chiku span. And you'll see that the Chiku span hit the 50 EMA again and was rejected. So we had this one here where it was rejected, and now we've had a second rejection by the Chiku span on the 50. So that's the one to watch. That's the one that's going to require breaking the 50, and then it will have the 50 SMA and the 200 SMA and the 200 EMA ahead of it, but all of those are resistance levels for Caterpillar. GDX disappointingly down, but since it's the only protection I have right now for a weaker dollar, there isn't another Fed meeting for another 35 or so days, but a weaker dollar would signal lowering of the dollar. Weaker dollar would follow lower interest rates, but the rest of the world isn't exactly raising interest rates, so the dollar will still stay strong, which isn't good for oil, which isn't good for gold. But if oil somehow ticks down, then money should move into the gold sector and the gold miners. Whirlpool had a hell of a day today. Who could have predicted that? I do regret selling Whirlpool, but it allowed me to sleep at night because I was worried about the overall market. Look at the volume, pretty strong volume. And it popped today because JP Morgan raised its target from 152 to 177. It touched the 50% Fibonacci almost, and it pulled back. So there was some overreaction, and it pulled back. So let's just look at it on the 15-minute, and let's see where that happened. It happened really right at the open. So people who were buying based on JP Morgan's recommendation got scalped. And still going to be a good stock, but let's find a right time to move into it. Certainly after that kind of a move, I would say no. Now, T did not move again for the second day in a row. And you have this hanging man kind of doji, I think that's what they call it, sort of like the guy suspended on two rings in gymnastics. So very, very narrow opening and close trading range, but a wide trading range. The trading range was actually, I don't have it up. Yeah, only 28 cents. And it finished down 7 cents. So sort of a nothing day for T. But we're keeping an eye on that, and we would like to buy it when the dividend is a little bit higher. So this is going to be another short one today because basically not a lot happened, and impeachment is going to be the order of the day, of the week, of the month, and we've got to keep an eye on that.